Doghouse Podcast is back. Great return guest, Mad Dawg. How we doing today?
We're doing great. I mean, we're doing fine after that SEC championship game. I can tell you that.
That was belt to ass whooping of Alabama. How was that?
That wasn't just a cleansing. That was like a full-blown exorcism of any demons that Alabama had used. Any curse that we had, it got lifted that night. I don't know what the deal was. Everybody always says it's a mental block with Alabama. Kirby can't get past it. The whole thing is with him is, I thought it was going to be different when Saban left. It doesn't seem to be that way. He lost twice to DeBoer, but I really kind of think he's over that. I don't know what the deal was. I mean, honestly, I really thought earlier in this September they were going to win. They had a few miscues. The team was young, but I think they're firing on all cylinders now. They're coming on at the right time. So, and it definitely showed in the SEC championship. I just hope they don't have too much time off and they lag before they hit the playoffs.
Yep, completely agree. What I liked is starting out that first drive against when they went 3 and out. I was like, all right, we got something here because that was the big Achilles for us in the first one. 9 for 9? Todd Simpson, we couldn't get off the field. That was impressive. How about Cole Spear, block punt? Where's he been? And Roderick Robinson. If you would have told me he would have had a touchdown, been like, what kind of drugs are you smoking?
And yeah, Roderick Robinson, he was on the injured list for so long, and everybody kept saying he was working out, and I didn't think he was going to come back. And then I didn't really see him until he made that play. When he come off the side and and Gunner threw it to him, I was like, wait a second. And number 0, that's Robinson. And I could not believe that he actually not only came in the game, contributed to it, he caught the first touchdown.
That was great to see because I know he's been through some injuries. Just an overall great win. I mean, we've lived through it all these years as Georgia fans, and just finally get over it and just put the whooping like that on them. 27 is really sweet. And then holding them to -3 yards. How impressive was that? Even if you did that in flag football or whatever game, that was impressive.
Well, Kirby had said earlier that he had sat in the defensive room with all those coaches, and the coaches kept telling him over and over, this is going to work if you start trusting us. This is going to work if you just listen to us. And I think, finally the kids started listening to the coaches, and they see how everything starts clicking and develop. They stopped the run. They were batting down passes. I mean, it was absolutely incredible to see the defense. I mean, they were putting pressure on the quarterback, not to mention sacking him. They were breaking through that line. It was like the old Georgia that we're used to seeing in the past. Before, earlier this year, you'd see them struggle on the defensive line and all that, but not Saturday night. That did not happen. And that's the Georgia that we're used to seeing, the defense that strangles you to death. And, the offense that puts enough points on the board just to, win the ball game. And here's something else I got to thinking about. Had they not had those mental mistakes with the personal fouls and then that pass interference, Alabama never would have scored.
Yeah, like DeMello Jones. Right.
Yeah, all that put them in the situation. It gave them a short field to score. And, Georgia basically walked them in, that 7 points they got. But not, had it not been for all that, they never would have scored, in my opinion.
Wasn't it some crazy stat they didn't make it past the 50 to the 30-yard or to the third quarter? Is that it?
No, they didn't. I don't even think they scored to the fourth. Yeah. They didn't even make it in the end zone. For 3 quarters, they shut Alabama down. And if you're able to do that with an offense that was able to move the ball like Alabama was, now I know people are going to say that Ty Simpson was hurt, his back was hurt, and his timing's off. But regardless of all that, I mean, he was still out there playing. If they thought he was hurt that bad, they shouldn't have put him on the field. So if he's your best option at quarterback, then, you got to play him regardless. But I did not see a defense that was scared of anything. They were very intimidating. They were bullying that offense. They were bullying the offensive line. And they played that game like it was personal, like they had a chip on their shoulder. And I completely understand why. They were sick and tired of losing to Alabama.
Completely agree. Another one is everybody was worried about him, but Malachi Tolliver. You got to give him. Didn't hear his name at all. He's doing his job. That was impressive because I know that was a big worry. And was it Big Tim Keening was lined up over him? Didn't hear his name at all. So bravo to him. So that was impressive.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, all this. This is such a young team. And Kirby mentions
Mhm.
that earlier. He was like, "This team is young," and if you look at the percentage wise, I saw the list that this is the youngest team in the playoffs right now. Like he has over like 40 something percent, freshmen, and this young team is starting to understand things and starting to listen to the coaches and trust the process. I know you hear that term a lot, but
Yeah.
they're actually starting to do it, and in doing so they see the results, they see what's happening, and they're understanding their assignments, they're doing everything they're supposed to do. And I know Kirby probably after the game when he got them back to Athens, he probably just simply told them, look, I told you so. I told you if you
Mhm.
just listen to us, this is what we can do. And now they've got a taste for it and they're all working together, they're firing all on all cylinders. I hope that this continues, especially during the playoffs.
Yeah, they're definitely peaking at the right time. Also, on the offensive side of the ball, Gunner Stockton doing his thing, 156 yards, 3 touchdowns, MVP. Came back from looking rough against Georgia Tech. I think that was an anomaly. It was an off day, and then the
Yeah.
defense carried him. But he looked good, 141 yards rushing against pretty good Alabama defense. I kind of feel like the Alabama defense is getting better, and their offense is regressing, going two different directions.
Yeah, they need to get on the same page. And I mean, Gunner, I mean, honestly, Gunner admitted that Tech game was a bad game. He said it was on me. It was a bad game. He threw that pick. He seemed like he couldn't get it out of his head after he threw that pick. Even he admitted this is a bad game. We need to move on. And he definitely changed the narrative in that SEC championship. I mean, he took total control. He had no issues. He threw that pass to Bell in the back of the end zone was a tight window, and he put that ball right on the money. I mean, if it's off just a little bit, it's either a pick or it's deflected, and he put that right on the money.
He did. He looked really good, poised. He's running the offense. Also, he was rolling out, getting that 3 to 5 yards clip when they needed to extend the drive. Another surprise too, and I remember seeing him on the first couple of drives. I'm like, who's that guy? Is the 27, the Dinkins kid at safety?
Yeah.
He came out and played, and Kirby said later is like he looked good in one series, and like let's roll with the hot hand, and he's been working hard. I think he was a true freshman because is it Joe Nail couldn't go? He had a wrist injury, so another guy stepping up. That was it. That was impressive. And how about going forward? Because I still don't know if we're gonna get Drew Bobo back. Do you feel pretty good about Tolliver going into the playoffs? And do you think we see Bobo anymore? Is he done from what you've been hearing?
I've been hearing that he is done. I mean, I heard the injury's pretty bad,
Mm.
but I thought the freshman really stepped up in the SEC championship game. I mean, they looked that offensive line looked in sync. I mean, I think they only got to Gunner like once,
Mm.
and I could live with that all day long.
Yeah.
The run game looked good. The blocking was incredible, especially that one block that Humphreys made when Allen went into the end zone.
Oh yeah.
I mean, my God, that was a good block, and those key blocks, and the whole team working together, offense, defensive line, and Lawson Lucky coming up with a huge play, catching the ball the way he did, to advance them. I mean, the tight ends are getting involved. I really think all the criticism of Bobo needs to kind of be quiet right now because cross your fingers and don't say anything out loud. But Bobo's really been calling some good plays. He's been dialing it up, and that offense is clicking. As long as he keeps everything creative and keeps moving the ball, I'm all for it.
Yeah, he played a good game. If I had to be nitpicky, I know I'm probably one of the majority is just maybe just cut back the bubble screens a little bit. But hey, he gets paid way more than me. But yeah, he's doing pretty well and it's creative. And another shout out is Brent Thorson for flipping the field. He did pretty well too. I think going forward that maybe if it's 3rd and 10, if Gunner doesn't see it, he can take a sneak in there and we can punt back in there and lean on our defense in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And not to turn the ball over. And if I had to get nitpicky, I think 7 penalties for 80 yards was a little uncharacteristic for the team, and Bama had only 1, so hopefully they'll clean up that a little bit. But
Yeah. Yeah, they needed a little more discipline, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They got into it with that Alabama player, and it cost him a personal foul. And you see Kirby pulling him over the sideline, like really getting on to him, like
Mhm.
like because you could see when he showed the replay, you could see the guy had butted his head, And then the Georgia player just absolutely smacked him, and that's where the flag came in. And what you've got to do is you've got to learn to let that go, because what they're doing, they're baiting you. They're trying to get you to do something like that. And the kid's young, and he got upset, and God knows what the defensive player said. I mean, I can only imagine what was said there, but the kid took it personal, and he didn't need to be, because like Kirby always says, when it comes to stuff like that, when teams are doing things like that, they're trying to get in your head, because all you got to do is laugh and point at the scoreboard. And they haven't learned how to do that yet. So they're still a little green when it comes to those kind of things, but just a little more maturity, a little more, calm them down a little bit. And I think they'll do good, because you don't want to see anything like that happen, especially, the more they advanced, in the playoffs.
Exactly. So Georgia, Kirby moves 2-7, 2-10, getting the monkey off the back. You can throw him to the side. And also, I think that's the last team, Florida. Tim Tebow was sitting there. Gunnar Stockton was sitting beside him. He was the last person to beat him. SEC championship game to beat Alabama was Florida. So all kind of great stats there. But yeah, just awesome win. We loved it. Hey, appreciate everyone clicking on my funny video that my wife made with praising the Lord music. That went viral, man. I think I got 750 crazy comments. I enjoyed it.
Appreciate I saw it. And the way she sped it up, the way you were moving, I thought it was hilarious.
It was.
I thought it was great. As soon as I saw it, I was like, "What is Trey doing?" And then I saw that. But yeah, I was doing the same thing. Oh, yeah. Nobody had a camera on me at the time, but I was doing the exact same thing. We were out with a group of people watching the game, and it was under my friend, and he has this giant 70-inch screen TV under this carport. So we're allowed to, we're able to be outside, and we're able to scream and, be as loud as we want to. And at no time during that game was I worried, or did I see anything about Georgia losing control of that game? They were in complete control of that ball game.
Yeah, I completely agree. But I mean, I was up 14-0, and my mom said, "Hey, we can't let down," because she's got a little Larry Munson, and you kind of still had that creeping on your shoulder of all the nightmares. But I did tell my mom, I was like, they get another touchdown, get 21-0. They ain't doing nothing on that defense, and that was the truth, because you could just tell. And I think Kirby knew it too. They put the stranglehold on them, and they probably went conservative a little bit. But 21-0, I think that was the dagger, and then even more, 28-7. But
yeah, when they scored that 7 points, I thought, well, here we go. They're going to come back, and they're going to score 14, and then it's going to be a 7-point game. And Georgia just did not let up. Like as soon as they made them, they stopped them again, and then when they moved the ball and got that 28, when he threw that to Branch, and Branch, I mean, when you give it to him, the way he moves, he is incredible. Not only is he fast, he's very agile. The way he moves and bends his body and everything, and he makes people miss.
Jab step.
Yeah. The way he makes people miss, and the way he got inside like that. By the time they reached him, they did knock him down, but it was already in the end zone. And he gets up and he does that touchdown celebration that he does, and all the other wide receivers join in the way they do it in unison like that. It's a good thing to see that this offense, more than anything else, it looks like they're having fun, and that's kind of what you need. I mean, I know you're supposed to take it seriously, but at some point in time, you need to remember that football needs to be fun too. And when everything's clicking like that, it can be fun. So that's what you got. That's what they're doing, and we're definitely having fun watching them. So it's all fun right now if you're a Georgia Bulldog fan.
Long time coming, back-to-back SEC championships, which is impressive. I believe that's is that the fourth one for Kirby?
Yes, I think he got one. He beat Auburn in 17, and then he beat LSU in 22.
Texas last year.
Yeah, and then Texas last year, and then this one. So that's the fourth one for Kirby. Kirby every first Saturday December, Kirby seems to always be in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Whether he's going to win or lose, he's always in the SEC championship.
That's right. Impressive. Georgia gets the great win, and then they're going to move on. Going to bring up the college football stats. I'm sorry, the bracket here. Also, Mad Dawg, what's your thoughts on this, and who should have got in, who should have got out, and what were you thinking, your opinion on Sunday, looking at the playoff ranking show?
Well, I mean, as far as who should have got in, I mean, Notre Dame. I mean, they took their ball and they went home. They were very upset that they didn't get in. But I mean, I don't really, part of me just wants to say, hey, do better, win your ball games. If if you don't win more, you don't lose more than 2 games, then you got a chance to get in. It's sometimes it's nobody's fault but their own. They just want to get in because of their name. I mean, Notre Dame can't just keep doing this. They can't keep getting upset. They're not in a conference. They don't play any championship game. They can't keep doing this and expect everybody just to be okay with it. They either join a conference or, understand that if they don't do well, they're going to get left out. You've got to stay on top of things. You got to win your ball games. I mean, all right, SEC got Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Alabama, and Georgia in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they got enough in there. And what I didn't understand was that Ohio State and in Indiana, I didn't understand why they just flip-flopped. I don't understand why Georgia didn't at least move up to 2, because Ohio State didn't score but 10 points in that ball game.
That's right.
Georgia handles and wins their conference, and handles their opponent.
Didn't move at all.
Yeah, it didn't move at all. Stayed right there at 3. And Alabama didn't move at all.
That's
now,
right.
I'm not. Yeah, I got no qualm with you putting Alabama in there. You want to put them in there, that's fine. But they didn't drop.
Yep.
And it just goes to show you the narrative of the committee is just ridiculous. Because think about this: a few years ago, we lose to Alabama in the SEC championship by 3 points. They drop us like 4 spots, and then we're completely out of the. Yeah. We're out of the SEC championship. I mean,
3 points to Alabama.
Yeah. We're because of the SEC championship, we're out of the playoffs. We're out of the whole 9 yards. But Alabama completely gets beat, and they don't move them at all.
Yep.
And it just goes to show you that the committee. Reason why it's so ridiculous and people are frustrated with it is every year the narrative changes. They want to say this is going to happen, and then they get in the room, close the door, and then it comes out the way it is. What they need to do, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, what they really need to do is stop all those Tuesday night predictions. That needs to be done, because all that does is give teams and fans false hope.
Yeah.
What you really need is the bracket at the end of the year. That's all you need. You do not need to see it every Tuesday night, and because it's useless. There's no reason for it. All it does is provide false hope.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it. I don't see a point in it, because if you remain number 1, it's going to subject to change. I don't understand. Maybe they're just trying to, give out ratings on Tuesday nights and ESPN. I don't know what the deal is, but they need to quit all that because the bracket at the end of the year is the only one that matters. I don't even know why they started that. I don't know why they do it. What they need to do is just keep the AP poll, just have it come out every week like it normally does after every Saturday. We need to see that. And then, at the end of the year, show us the bracket. We don't need to see a bracket, 4 weeks before the playoffs actually start, because that's ridiculous. Everything's going to change.
Yeah.
And then when you see it change just a little because it doesn't fit their agenda and what they're going to do, then that's where all the uproar is, because they're like, hey, they didn't drop, they didn't move at all. Well, if they didn't show it to us, we wouldn't have known they wouldn't have moved at all. They didn't show us the bracket. If they'd not shown us the bracket, we wouldn't have seen it. But we see it, and then when they don't move it, we all get, everybody gets in an uproar, and they need to quit doing that. I don't see a point in it. It needs to stop.
Yeah, I completely agree. I like what listen to Drew Butler on Punt and Pass podcast, Jake Fromm, and he's always yelling, man, they need to put it like C-SPAN, is put a camera in there and let them hear what they're talking about, and that would be must watch. Let them all debate. They wouldn't do it. But I think
they wouldn't do it.
It'd be really interesting though what they would see. You probably see a lot of these people don't know what they're talking about. They're kind of just thrown in there, admin guys, like trying to act like anyway.
No, they don't know what it's. It's not only that, it's such a joke. Like it's such a joke, and I don't understand why people think that anybody's going to really take it seriously when they change it, year to year. They say conference championship, we're not going to hurt, you're not going to get hurt for losing your conference championship game. We did, Georgia did.
Yeah.
But Alabama loses, big time, and nothing changes for them.
Yeah.
And it's such hypocritical crap. When you see it, like, you guys can't stick to one narrative. You know, that's why I'm saying bring the computer back. You want to have a 12-team playoff, bring the computer back. Let the computer run the numbers, and nobody can argue with it. We can say a person didn't come up with this, a computer did.
They should let an AI computer.
Yeah, a computer came up with this, and this is exactly how it is. So, you know, like it or not, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Versus somebody getting in there and saying, well, we can't leave this team out, or how about we leave this team out, even though they've got the same record. You know, we're going to throw them out and put them in. Why are we putting them over them? Well, I don't know. You know, who knows? Because they feel like it. Another thing you got to look at is TV ratings. Yep. They're going to look at who is going to tune in to which game everybody wants to watch, the matchups they want to watch. You know, who's going to want to see what. That's what they're doing. And if everybody,
big brand too.
Yeah, and that's it. It's who, you know, nobody's going to tune into that game because that game is boring. Well, if the numbers are right, then that team deserves to be in, regardless of whether you think it's boring or not. But you got to take the human factor out of it, and they're not doing that. They're looking at this. That's all they're looking at. You know, how are we going to bring in more ratings, get the sponsors to come in, because they know people are going to tune into this game. Yeah. And that's just, to me, that's the way it is. It's all about the money. And they change the narrative to however it's going to bring them more money at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. Completely agree. But I know Georgia didn't move, but them being 3, I think it's a favorable matchup. And then it's probably looking like Ole Miss. And how do you see Georgia potentially playing Ole Miss? I assume they beat Tulane. They're going to be a big favorite. What do you think about that matchup?
Well, we're going to see what, you know, Pete Golding's going to do. We're really going to see how things are going to develop with him as head coach. I mean, I know it should be easy for them to beat, you know, Tulane. It shouldn't be a problem at all. So, you know, because they obviously beat them pretty badly in the beginning of the season here. But, you know, it may look different. Things may look a little different. I mean, the only thing that's really changed, you know, it seems that Lane left. But I mean, how much is that really going to affect the team? Are they going to rally behind this new coach? And, you know, is he going to have a different, you know, he's got the offensive coordinator came back. So, you know, how is it going to look? Is it going to look any different? Is it going to look the same? You know, I mean, you got to look at things like, it's not just that, like clock management, you know, how he's going to handle things. I mean, he's not going to handle things the same way Lane is. And regardless of what anybody says, he's never been a head coach before. When you put on that headset, and you're hearing more than just your side of the ball, it's a different thing. Kirby said that. Somebody said something to him one time about what was it like when you put on the headset and you realize that you are going to, you know, you were the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs. He said, when I put on the headset, I was listening and I said, who are all these people talking? And then you realize you're listening to both sides of the ball, you know, because when you're offensive coordinator, you only hear that one group every time, but the coach hears everybody, and you've got to be able to tune everything out and be able to focus. Now we're going to see what, you know, I think this is a terrible timing to throw him in here during the playoffs. You know, Lane leaving, we could have a whole nother podcast about Lane Kiffin, but that's beside the point. But, you know, he's in a bad situation. How is he going to make the most of it? And I think his inexperience may show. And, you know, I see the Dogs coming out on top if they play Ole Miss again.
Yeah, and this defense is trending up too. Going to play a whole lot better. I doubt they're going to put 40-something on that defense again, second time around. And Kirby's real good about playing back-to-back games. What, 4-0 all time?
Yeah, he is. I mean, everybody always says it's hard to beat the same team twice. He did it in Texas last year.
That's right.
And I don't. And this team is. I think this Ole Miss team is going to look a little different. Yeah. And, you know, and like I said, Pete Golding's got to put his own stamp on this team. And it's just bad timing, like I said, for him to do it during the playoffs. Now, we're really going to see a lot coming up next season. You know what the team's made of and how they're going to do. I think he's going to be fine. I don't know why they just, you know, to me, if you think about when they hired all those coaches, they did it like real quick. You remember when everybody figured out where Lane was going? You know, Florida has a coach, Auburn has a coach, Arkansas has a coach, and then Ole Miss just says we're promoting this guy from within. I mean, I was like, my God, this all happened in a day, which lets you know that all the pieces were in place. They were all just waiting on. Lane was holding the entire conference hostage. Yeah. We're trying to figure out what he was going to do. And everybody, as soon as everybody knew what he was going to do, all the pieces fell, and everybody, which means everybody already had their guy anyway. They were just waiting to see what Lane was going to do.
Yep, chain reaction. Looking at the other matchups, what are you kind of more interested in seeing? The Miami Texas A&M or Oklahoma, Alabama. I guess Alabama at Oklahoma.
I mean, it makes you wonder if if Alabama learned anything, or if they're gonna regress again. Because you think about it, they're gonna be going to Oklahoma. Oklahoma's
Mhm.
gonna be hosting the playoff game. So I mean, Oklahoma's hungry. I mean, I think last year they got really tired of everybody talking about Texas this and Texas that, and I know they couldn't be happier that Texas is left out of the playoffs, but I think Oklahoma's a little hungry, and I think
Mhm.
Alabama could be on the downslide, and Oklahoma's going to make them pay for it, especially when they play them at home. So I look for Oklahoma to win that game and advance. And Texas A&M, I don't think. I mean, as much as I would like to see Georgia play Gunnar Stockton, not. I mean, play Gunnar Stockton and Carson Beck together. Wouldn't that be something to watch that matchup? God, just to watch them go head to head,
The
and
storyline in that game.
oh yeah, yeah. Can you
Yeah.
imagine that?
Oh yeah.
You imagine everybody would be tuning in to the stuff Gunnar Stockton and Beck just going head to head,
Oh yeah.
and the defense sacking Carson Beck like that. Oh
Mhm.
God, that would be it would be something to see. But I don't see them getting past Texas A&M. I
Hmm.
think Texas A&M is going to beat them in that game, and then you got to see Texas A&M play Ohio State. Like, what's that going to look like? Is Ohio State going to be able to, score more than 10 points on Texas A&M?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they're going to have a lot of time off to think about it. And it makes you wonder, because remember, once Ohio State had that loss against Michigan, when they hit the playoffs, they were on fire. It makes you
Mhm.
wonder, is history going to repeat itself there?
Yeah.
Or are they going to, or is somebody going to come in there and be able to beat them and, just take them out of the whole contention of repeating the national championship?
Yeah, they did get hot last year. They could come in with a chip on the shoulder, but man, Indiana might be a little better than we thought. I didn't know what to think about Indiana. I knew that was a great win over Oregon, but that surprised me on Saturday.
Yeah, yeah, and Indiana could. Yeah, you're right. Indiana could be the real deal. Everybody's talking about Indiana and Georgia playing for the Natty. That would be something to see. It'd be interesting to see those two match up and see how Kirby goes head to head with him. Because to me, that's what you need to do. That's what a national championship should be. Two teams that haven't really seen each other much.
Mhm.
Nothing repeated. Just something new. Something just back and forth. They score, we score. Just see who wants it most.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what it boils down to. And that's the kind of matchup you really want to see in a national championship game. Like two teams that are just so polar opposite, and just
Yeah.
see how when they come together, what exactly do they do? What exactly do they do with Georgia's defense? How's Gunnar going to look when facing that defense? That's what you want to look at. That's what you want to see. I think it'd be exciting to see that, but it's a long road before that happens.
Should be good. Is there maybe a team as a Georgia fan you wouldn't want to play, or is there a team maybe like, this could be a tough matchup? And is Texas Tech maybe that team? That defense looks scrappy. They look kind of dangerous. I
Yes.
just don't know how good they
Yep.
are.
Yeah, Texas Tech is a really good story. Now,
Yeah.
do they go all the way? I don't know. I mean, their coach just brand new to college football. I mean, yeah, they have a great story. They got a Buckets Award winner on the defense. Yeah, it's a good story. Now, do they make it to the semifinals? Maybe. Do they lose in the first round? I don't know. I mean, maybe the moment's too big for the coach. I mean, even though they did win their conference, but then you got to think. I mean, no disrespect, it's the Big 12.
Mhm.
So maybe it's not that difficult. Maybe when they play tougher teams, it won't work out for them. But I can see Texas Tech, maybe winning the first game. I think they'd be a handful because they got a lot of fire and energy. They would be a handful, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
They're very, very feisty. They get fired up, batting down passes and intercepting the ball the way they were doing. But it could be, that offense just could have just had a bad game. That could happen too. Sometimes when an offense has a bad game, they make the defenses look better than they really are.
Yeah.
So you never can tell. We'll be able to find out more after maybe this first round of playoffs and see where everybody is.
Yeah, I was listening to Dog Nation. I like Mike Griffith. He's a straight shooter. He said Miami is dangerous on that side of the bracket. He saw them maybe being the second best team, potentially even upsetting Ohio State. But he said they got a real good defense. Carson Beck can throw it around. They got some receivers. That's what he said. I don't know though.
I mean, it could. I mean, if they get past Texas A&M, Yeah, I mean that. Like I said, that's the matchup I'd want to see. I'd want to see Georgia play them. If I could, if it's on a wish list, I'd be like, please let us play Miami. There would be nothing that would please. I think the entire Dog fan base would be excited to watch them beat down Carson Beck.
Yeah, and some of those defense players might have some receipts for him.
Well, I mean, if he stays true to form, if he does throw interceptions or if he does get sacked, nothing's ever gonna be his fault. It's always somebody else's. He'll always point the finger. The line didn't block for me. The wide receiver missed a route. It's just somebody else's fault. The reason why that something goes wrong with him.
Yeah. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. Plus, enjoy Georgia taking a little time off. They won't play till January 1st at 8 p.m. So that'll be a good some time off to kind of enjoy the holidays. No stress on the weekends for Georgia fans.
Yeah, we'll be riding this SEC championship wave for a while. I got to admit. I mean, I still.
Oh, did we lose you?
No, I'm right here.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's so much that we want to. I don't think so much that we want to we beat, how we beat them that everybody's impressed about.
That's right. Hey, Mad Dawg, appreciate you coming on again. How do we follow you on social media?
You follow me at Mad Dawg 19 on Twitter. And you can find me on YouTube with Another Doggone Podcast.
There it is. It's growing. He's been having some great guests, almost 50 subscribers, really professionally done in the studio, looking great. Also, real quick, Mad Dawg, I know you've been, I think you're getting close to 10 or so episodes. Who's been your favorite guest so far, if you had to pick?
Coach Pete Cordelli, actually. He is a coach. He is a coach. He coached at he was offensive coordinator at Notre Dame under Lou Holtz. He won a national championship there with Lou Holtz. And he's offensive coordinator at Arkansas, North Carolina State. He was a head coach at Kent State for 3 years. The man has 1,000 stories, and you could just sit down, pull up a chair, and listen to some of the things. There's some of the things I can tell you that we can't talk about on a podcast. That's how crazy some of his stories are. They're great.
Yeah, really check it out. I've been enjoying that. I think you've had him on 3 or so times. So, yeah, check that out. Another Doggone Podcast on YouTube. Check out Mad Dawg on Twitter as well. Appreciate you coming on again.
Absolutely, man. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.